Oklahoma governor spares inmate minutes before execution. It was supposed to be the final moments of a man's life, a man who had spent years on Oklahoma's death row, counting the days, the hours, and finally, the minutes. But on the very brink of execution, when witnesses were already in their seats and the execution chamber lights were on, something happened that no one saw coming. For years, this inmate lived under the shadow of death row. His crime had been widely covered, and the courts had repeatedly denied his appeals. The state had already scheduled his execution date and refused to postpone it. As the day approached, officials prepared the chamber, doctors confirmed the protocol, and the final paperwork was signed. But behind the scenes, a different story was unfolding. Lawyers, activists, and even retired investigators argued that the case wasn't airtight. Some of the evidence used during the trial was now being questioned. Key witnesses had changed their statements, and new experts claimed that mistakes may have been made during the investigation. These concerns sparked a wave of public attention. People began to ask, what if the state was about to execute the wrong person? As execution day drew closer, pressure mounted on the Oklahoma governor. Human rights groups, church leaders, former prosecutors, and thousands of citizens signed petitions demanding clemency. News stations across the country began covering the case, turning it into a national debate. Still, the governor remained silent, and the clock continued counting down. In the final hours before the execution, the inmate was moved to a special holding area. Just steps from the execution chamber, he ate his last meal. He wrote his final statement, and he was asked if he had any last words. Outside, supporters waited anxiously. Inside, corrections officers stood at their posts. Everything was ready. All that was needed was the warden's signal to begin. But with just minutes left, when the execution process was moments away from starting, an urgent message arrived at the prison. Oklahoma's governor had granted clemency. The execution was officially stopped. The inmate's life had been spared, literally in the last moments. Clemency did not mean freedom. It meant the death sentence was replaced with life in prison. The inmate would remain behind bars for the rest of his life, but he would not be executed. For some, this was justice. For others, it was a mistake. The governor's decision sparked heated reactions. Supporters celebrated the choice to prevent a potential injustice. Critics argued that the state had let a convicted criminal escape his punishment. One thing is certain. Oklahoma witnessed one of the most dramatic last-minute reversals in its history. What do you think? Did the governor save an innocent man, or block justice from being served? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Real Crime Chronicles for more true crime stories.